new report on ticks in the state has recently been released. Will Wagner went to learn more about the findings and how to stay safe from tick-borne illnesses.
The new tick report from the Maine Extension Tick Lab shows ticks and related diseases continuing to solidify and expand their presence within Maine. In 2024, the lab analyzed over 4,700 submitted ticks.
What we saw last season was kind of a continuation of elevated risk of encountering ticks, and particularly black-legged ticks or deer ticks. This type of tick is the species that's known to transmit Lyme disease as well as several other pathogens.
Ticks are present all throughout Maine, but are more common in some areas.
The mid-coast has really emerged as a hot spot for tick population density as well as reported cases of human illness. We're starting to see more and more ticks being submitted from down East Maine, so Washington County, and slowly spreading north to Piscataquis County, northern Penobscot, and into Aroostook County as well. So certainly it's present in all 16 counties, but there is this kind of north-south gradient with fewer ticks the further north you go.
Tests run on ticks frequently return troubling results.
We saw around 42% of them testing positive for the bacteria that causes Lyme disease, and then somewhere around 10 to 12% testing positive for Anaplasma and Babesia, which are kind of our big three when it comes to tick-borne pathogens here in the state.
While many do carry disease, most transmissions occur within 36 to 48 hours after latching on a skin. That's why it's important to make checking for ticks a habit.
The timing of removal is imperative. So, some of these tick-borne pathogens can be transmitted relatively rapidly, while others take a prolonged feeding by the tick to be transmitted somewhere in the 24, 36, 48-hour time frame. So, removing that tick in a timely manner is really critical. And then reaching out to your medical provider to let them know that, hey, I've had this attached tick. What are my options medically?
The Tick Lab offers free tick identification and disease testing for $20.
Anyone can send in a tick for free species identification. We'll let you know what type of tick it is you're dealing with, the potential, pathogens that they can carry. And then for a nominal fee, we'll actually test that tick and detect whether it is actually carrying some of those pathogens.
Will Wagner, WABI News.